Hey guys, my name is Ali and I'm going to start making videos about free software that is available to the general public for Macintosh users. I know there's tons of free software out there and I want to put it out there in front of you guys to see what you could actually do with it. I'm going to be reviewing the software, I'm going to be demoing it. So for the people that are looking for certain type of software that could definitely bring those type of things into their daily life that could help them. And I feel like what's better software than you not having to pay for it. Definitely, I want to be making more videos about it. And please, if you do like content as such, do subscribe to my channel and do support it. And I'll see you guys in the next drop. What you're looking at right now on the screen is the Activity Monitor, which is the proprietary monitoring software for Mac and is completely free of charge. So as you know, every app and process running in the background is using your precious resources. When resources are exhausted, you may find that your Mac is slow, lagging, or unresponsive. It is necessary to monitor your system status so that you can be the first to notice when the system resources are about to be exhausted. There are tons of monitoring software for Mac on the internet, but it can be hard to choose which one is right for you. So let's take a look at Activity Monitor. So when it comes to monitoring Mac system status, we have to mention Activity Monitor, a free tool built into Mac OS. It shows the various resources in use on the system such as CPU, memory, energy, disk, and network. Since it's an official tool, it wins most of the users who are looking for a Mac performance monitoring software. What are some of the pros and cons of using Activity Monitor? So number one pro is free and easy to use. Number two is displays various system resources in use, quickly stop unwanted processes. And couple of cons: unable to display system status in the menu bar and cannot monitor disk space usage. Which is fine because we have other softwares that do cover that. So let's go ahead and quickly look at the Activity Monitor and talk about this in the demo. So on the screen, as you know, you're being displayed Activity Monitor software, where you could just go to the search bar on the top right of your Mac system and type activity, and Activity Monitor should pop up, and you click on it, it will open up for you. So once you open up, this is what it will look like. This is all your processes. These are the name of your processes, the CPU percentage being utilized, CPU time, threads, idle wake-ups, kind, percent of GPU time, process ID users that are using that process. Now that's all being covered under CPU. Let's go over to the memory. Under memory, again, you have the different softwares or processes that are using the memory that's available. So as you could tell, different softwares are using different amount of memory, and you could tell that from here. And you could obviously change the order of how you want to see that by clicking on the down arrow here. And then if you go to the threads, then you can see the different amount of threads. Again, once you click on that, it'll tell you which task or process is using the most amount of threads on your CPU, on your memory. And then again, these are the ports in the next column over, and then the process ID, and then the users that are using the amount of memory for that software. Okay, we'll go over back to CPU to quickly take a look at what's on the bottom here. We have the system, user, and idle. So system is using about 5%, give or take, of the CPU load, where the user is taking about 6%. And the idle process is about 86%. Now, if you go over to the next box, you see the CPU load, and that's color coordinated, where blue is the user and the system is the red. It's kind of graphical view for you guys to take a look at. And then you have threads and processes. Now let's go back over to memory. It shows the memory pressure on the bottom. Then you got the physical memory, which is 16 gig total. Then how much memory is being used. 9 gigs of memory is being used. Cache files, swap used. And then app memory, how much of that is being consumed. Wired memory, that's the breakdown of the usage that we are seeing here. Let's go over to the next. Energy. So energy is basically how much power each of these applications that are currently running are consuming. So as you could tell, you have the app name. Google Chrome here is taking up basically no power because I'm not using it at the moment. But then activity monitor is running, so it's taking about 43% of the energy impact on the laptop. And then you have the 12-hour power, how much power we use in the 12-hour cycle. App nap, which apps have already taken a nap or been silenced throughout the day. And then, of course, preventing sleep. And then user, what user account within your Mac system is using that. On the bottom, energy impact, we have remaining charge, 100%, batteries charged, and then the energy impact, and then battery lasts about 12 hours if it's not being charged on standby. So that is one of the cons. It doesn't really monitor disk space usage, which is fine, but it will tell you the process name that is using, the amount of bytes written, and then a bytes read, and the process ID for that, and then the account that's using that disk, the read and writes. Same thing on the bottom. It gives you more of a chart here. How many reads in, how many writes. So every time a computer is talking through the different processes, it's reading and writing data. That's what you're seeing and receiving back. And then it tells you the read in seconds, writes out in seconds. And then we could change that to different modes, how we want to see the data. So this is set to IO. And then, of course, if you're on the look on the right side as well, this is more granular detail, data read, data written, data read per second, and then data written per second. And then finally, let's visit the network tab. So this one I often use a lot as well, depending sometimes on how much traffic is being generated by my laptop for a specific app. So I want to take a look at that sometimes. Now it's pretty good. It tells you that the mail is sending 79 kilobytes per second. It's receiving about 2.5 megabits per second. And then how many packets were sent on the network through the Wi-Fi or hardwire, however you have your laptop configured, and then how many packets received, and the process ID, and then the account on your Mac system that's using it. And then if you look on the bottom, packets in, how many packets are coming into your laptop in total, and how many packets are going out, packets in per second, packets out per second, and then you could change that to data or packets. I leave it on packets. Data received, data sent, data received per second, and data sent per second. This will kind of give you a rough idea of how much data you're sending and receiving from your laptop.
Well, this is it for Activity Pro software. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and look out for the more monitoring software that I'll be reviewing in the next videos. Thank you.
So the second monitoring software that I'll be reviewing is called Stats. Stats is a free open source Mac performance monitor software. Unlike activity monitor, stats can display a variety of system resources in the menu bar in real time, including CPU, memory, disk, battery, Bluetooth, network, etc. Some of the pros and cons for stats. Pros are going to be free and open source, so it's completely free for cost purposes. You could download it and use it as much as you like. All information is shown in the menu bar. Basically, all the stats there are different settings like GPU, CPU, everything is detailed out in the menu bar, so you could jump a little bit into it, and I'll go through that in a little bit. And then the third pro for stats is fast data refresh rate, and finally quickly open activity monitor. So basically it's very easy to maneuver through it and quickly open. And a couple of cons for stats is going to be no disk cleanup feature, and it's outdated UI. You have the dashboard, which outlines the system specifications or the details for the current Mac that you're utilizing, which is the main dashboard. It also includes the uptime, which is pretty cool. And then under CPU, pretty similar to activity monitor from what the data is being given. But then you have additional settings, like you could update the intervals to whatever seconds you want. It goes up to 30 seconds. What the interval refresh rates are basically. Update interval for top processes. You could set that time, number of top processes. You could display up to 15. Notification level, if you want that. You could get some notifications on it up to whatever percentage. You could control that. And then they also has widgets, which is pretty cool. So as I was saying, on the top bar on the desktop, it shows the current stats, which you could play around with and change colors to. Also, you could align it to left, center, or right. And then the pop-up settings, basically these are also like notification colors and stuff that you could play around with, so you could basically separate out different types of notifications. For CPU, you could do a certain color, for GPU, so on and so forth. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then chart colors, you could do efficiency cores colors, etc. And then if you go under GPU, you basically have the same settings. You have the stats, and then you have the same settings. And then, if you want to display the GPU, you can enable that. And then similar widget settings, so on and so forth. So if you go under RAM, basically the same thing. Disk, sensors. Now that is pretty cool because I think you could change. You could, if you're using a CPU, you could enable fan speeds or control the temperature of your CPU, or monitor it, if not control it from the sensors. And then the network tab gives you a little bit more granularity on different interfaces. Number of top processes, widget activation thresholds, reader type, activity host ICMP, which is ping traffic. And then if you go in widgets, you can modify that, the view mode, pictogram. It's a lot more granularity, a lot more control in stats that you would have over activity monitor. So battery, you have the low level notifications. So basically you can set that if you want a notification after 15, if the battery is as low as 15%, you'll get it then. High level notification, if it's 100%, you could notify you yourself. Number of top processes, you could display up to 15. Time format, long or short, and then additional information, and then you could, low power mode, colorize it, again colorize the battery icons, etc. And then you have the Bluetooth settings, pretty similar, and then the clock. And the setting, you could check for the update. This is version 2.8.16, and then you could, display the temperature in Celsius or Fahrenheit, display show icon and dock, start at login, combine module. Then you can also reset some settings here, which we don't want to do. And then this is like a quick navigation bar here on the bottom. You could pause it, you could favorite it, or you could even log into GitHub using this icon and play around with, maybe make some changes to it. And then obviously if you want to close the application, this is the way you would do it. Last but not the least, this is called Bohu Cleaner. The name might throw you off because it looks like one of those cleaning tools or cleaning softwares, but it has a menu bar. So once you click the menu bar on top, it tells you the active CPU load, CPU temperature, fan speeds, RAM, and network kilobytes all in one, going in and out. The amount of hard drive you have. You could even format it from here, and then you could check for updates. You could modify preferences here. Preferences, you could get into what kind of files do you want to delete, etc., and what kind of files do you want to ignore or you don't want to scan. Apps, uninstall. You could scan through those and uninstall those, but these are basically the settings that you would want to apply to your action items. And then you could change the folder structures, etc., and then enable the menu items that you want to display on top. And those are just the preferences, but the real deal is here. So basically, you could scan, find, and clean junk files to free up disk space on your Mac. This is a free tool. Not only gives you stats for your resources, but it also gives you a cleaner, which is pretty awesome. And then you could basically select the application you don't want and clean that up all in one shot. It'll do it for you. Also, you could scan large files, find and remove big files that are above 50 megabits on your hard drive. It'll remove duplicates. You just got to add the folder and it'll find the duplicate files and remove them. It'll find and manage items that open automatically when the system starts. Now, these are system startup files, and a lot of times that'll bog the process down on the boot up process down. So you want to make sure that that's being managed correctly, and I think this lets you do that. And then the toolkits, so different ways to to flush the DNS. You don't have to run a command, you just simply click this. It'll clear your DNS records from your cache. This is rebuilding the Spotlight index. Visually analyze and manage your disk space. Erase sensitive data securely, and then free up some RAM space. So obviously you could select, you could visualize your disk space usage, make it easy to find and delete the files and folders that are taking up space. So this is a 2-in-1. I think this might be my favorite one so far, since it gives you both at the same time. But let me know your thoughts. What are your favorite tools from the 4 that I showed you guys? These are probably the most, these are the best tools that you could find for free to be able to monitor your resources on your computer. If you like content as such, please do subscribe to my channel and let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much. Talk to you in the next one.